In particular, Pam Bondi, our Attorney General, first of all, for getting a lot of resources to Minneapolis to start to investigate and prosecute this fraud, really at an industrial scale. We've never seen fraud like this in the history of our country. Pam has been doing a great job to get the resources there to uncover it, but importantly, creating a job like this often takes months, sometimes even longer. When we realized that we needed this associated to stop defrauding the American people. And here's one final thing I'll say about this. I've heard a lot of all the benefits, all the resources, all the authority of a special counsel, but with two crucial differences. Number one, we get them permanently and they don't have some legal technicality they can get out of, which is why we set it up as a CNN headline about what happened in Minneapolis. And this is the headline, I'm just going to read it. U.S. citizen in Minneapolis. Well, that's one way to put it, and that is the way that many was an attack on law and order. This was an attack on the American people. The way that the media, by and large, has reported, what that headline leaves out is the fact that that very ICE officer nearly had his life ended, is that that woman was there to interfere with a legitimate law enforcement operation in the United States, what the American people elected him to do, which is enforce our immigration laws. The president stands with ICE. I stand that you people in the media, not everybody in this room, but many people in this room have been lying about this, seriously wounded in law enforcement operations before, and everybody who's been repeating the lie that this is something that says, I care about getting to the bottom of this fraud for the American people, and I care about enforcing the nation's immigration laws. That's what
they've said they're targeting Americans. They've told ICE to get the F out of Minnesota. Administration going to do to make sure these folks are protected during these protests, but also the
tragedy of the making of the far left. They have radicalized a very small segment of the population, taught millions of criminal aliens that were let in during the Biden administration. So number one, we have to say, as a matter of leadership, our ICE officers should be supported in doing their job. You're trying to actually marshal, try to make it impossible for them to enforce the law, and in some cases actually to engage in acts of domestic terrorism against our. What we're going to do is make it easier for the American people's administration to enforce the American people's law. And that are going to get tougher, and that's what this AAG position is about. We're going to get tougher at the people who are defrauding us, but we're going to keep on doing it, and this new AAG position is going to kick that into high gear.
Left is talking about very specific facts of these events. When an investigation is just beginning.
Who aimed her car at a law enforcement officer and pressed on the accelerator. Nobody debates that. Left, who has marshaled an entire movement, a lunatic fringe. You know what? You don't have to agree with our immigration policies. You don't have to agree with what the president or the vice president believe about immigration.
A lot of emotion in Minnesota, across the country, over this incident. You're calling Renee Good.
What we have a responsibility to do is to protect the people who are enforcing the law and protect the country. Thing is the idea that a local official can actually prosecute a federal official with absolute immunity is the real issue, that they're encouraging people. Minneapolis officials are encouraging people to commit violence against
ICE officers to do their job. You told my colleague just now that there's an investigation going on into that network.
Yep.
So if everything that you say.
This has been one of the biggest scandals I've ever seen in media. I've never seen a case so misrepresented. That's why we care so much about protecting our law enforcement, because it accrues to the benefit of the entire. Well, first of all, I think if you watch every angle of that video, there is one angle or an encouragement for people to go and incite violence and participate in violence against our law enforcement officials. To the people on the ground in Minneapolis, meaning the local officials, think about, for example, a criminal law where a police officer goes and arrests somebody because they.
Can you lay out the case as to why he should step down?
Well, look, I think Tim Walz should resign because this is not like Lex Luthor, right? This is not movie villain fraud. This is, and set up a daycare center where there are no children, and we're going to call our early childhood education center the Qualis. We know that there were schools who either had no enrollment or at least they overstated their enrollment. Tim Walz,
Associate Attorney General and a special counsel. And do you envision this being a permanent position or having more of a limit?
So I think it's going to last for at least the remainder of the administration. What's different about it from a special counsel is, if you remember, not an appointed person. Completely aside from all the other issues, that the person was a lunatic and that the case had no, or excuse me, an assistant attorney general, what that's going to allow us to do is appoint this person, have them confirm. I think a lot of people have asked, how are you really going to get to the heart of the fraud? We've been asking ourselves that question. He's been injured because of it. he deserves a debt of gratitude. And I think the media prejudging and talking about
for the operations because of her past concerns about military involvement in Venezuela?
So I've heard a couple of things. One, that I was kept out of. One of the things that is really amazing about that operation is that we kept it very tight to the senior cabinet level secret for a very long time. I'm very proud of that. I think it suggests that the team works very well for a couple of months, and that'll continue to be how we approach things. Go ahead.
President. So we are seeing if Israel decides to strike again the nuclear sites in Iran, is the U.S. expected to take part?
Well, look, we certainly stand by the smartest thing for them to have done. It was true 2 months ago. It's true today, is for them to actually have what we need to see when it comes to their nuclear program. I'll let the president speak to what we're going to do in the future, but we certainly
region that they will remain a zone of peace because some member states in the region.
We continue to talk at all levels of government with a number of our friends in the Caribbean region. I actually think this is really good for peace in the Caribbean. Revenue, which is the cocaine trade, the fentanyl trade, other sources of illicit revenue. You actually remove respected that the United States is willing to take power away from criminal cartel organizations and security of that landmass more seriously, because if they're not, the United States is going to have to do something about it. What that is, I'll leave that to the president as we continue to engage in diplomacy with our European friends and everybody on this particular topic. And again, thank you all for listening. Thanks for talk about toning down the temperature, which I know the president wants to do, and I certainly want to do. One of the ways we Happy New Year, guys.